afternoon, friends, family, faculty, members of the board, and future graduates. Welcome to Center Grove High School's Class of 2020 Commencement Ceremony. My name is Caitlin Jansen, and I have the honor and privilege of being the Senior Class President. Please stand for a moment of silence for classmates we have lost. Thank you. Please remain standing for the national anthem. Recently, there have been two pandemics sweeping the United States. One, of course, is COVID-19, which has resulted in us being stuck at home in a very close proximity to our family, and we all know how that goes. The other is a long-time ingrained pandemic that specifically targets high school seniors, and runs rampant throughout high schools everywhere. To sum up the highly contagious, yet not so life-threatening pandemic, it involves seniors catching a swift lack of all motivation and a newfound love for doing absolutely nothing. And it typically hits affected individuals the hardest during the last semester of high school, or if any of you are like me, the entire senior year. It is known as senioritis. In the midst of all the chaos in the world so far this year, you'd think that senioritis would get the hint. Unfortunately, this year was no exception. To say the least, it was likely much worse. As a high school student and young adult, it can be so easy to take for granted all of the blessings in our lives. Being at home, we lost our routine and our tangible built-in support system of our peers and our teachers, who we often fail to thank for not only the enormous sacrifice of dedicating a life to educating young adults such as ourselves, but for doing so much more than educating us. At this moment, I would like to thank all of the teachers, administrators, and athletic department faculty for all they have done throughout the time that I've been a member of the Center Grove community. I especially would like to thank them for how they have adapted in the face of adversity this year and still made my classmates in my senior year memorable. Without our teachers working hard and long hours, we would not have been able to complete the year. I know that there was also no shortage of hard work from the students as well. Whether you are entering the workforce, serving our country as a member of the military, or continuing your education, you should be proud of what you have already accomplished. With all that being said, we made it. Congratulations to everyone in CG's class of 2020. Now, I would like to invite our all-student body president, Jenna Boha, to the stage to introduce our wonderful guests.
At this time, it is my honor to introduce our guests. Dr. Richard Arkanoff, Superintendent of Schools. Dr. William Long, Assistant Superintendent. Mrs. Nora Hoover, Assistant Superintendent. Mr. Jason Taylor, Assistant Superintendent. Dr. Paul Gabriel, Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Rob Daniels, President of the Board of Trustees. Mr. Jack Russell, Vice President of the Board of School Trustees. Mr. Joe Hubbard, Secretary of the Board of School Trustees. Mrs. Carol Toomey, Board Member. Mr. Scott Alexander, Board Member. Dr. Jeff Henderson, Principal, Mr. Jake Short, Assistant Principal, and Mrs. Tracy McMahon, Assistant Principal. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Anderson, Senior Class Treasurer, for the introduction of the STAR teachers and counselors of the Class of 2020.
It is my pleasure to introduce the STAR teachers of the Class of 2020. Student, Teachers, and Relationships, or STAR, is a common class period in which the graduating seniors have had daily interaction with fellow students and a mentoring teacher. Mr. Mike Bishop, Mr. Brooks Bowers, Mr. Chad Daniels, Mrs. Katie Diarmit, Miss Michelle DeLuna, Mrs. Hannah Dodson, Mr. Wes Dodson, Mrs. Tammy Folk, Mr. Adam Gath, Mrs. Courtney Gradert, Mr. Nick Lyon, Mrs. Dana McNulty, Miss Danielle Meyer, Mrs. Katie Miller, Mrs. Donna Montgomery, Mrs. Angela Newland, Mrs. Claire Rogers, Mrs. Toby Rumpel, Mrs. Lindy Scott, Mrs. Heidi Shackelford, Mr. Joe Siderwitz, Mr. Ryan Spoonmore, Mrs. Elizabeth Sturham, Mrs. Andrea Tevan, Mr. Brad Timmons, Mrs. Melissa Warner, Mr. Greg Warner, and Mrs. Katie Zener. Next, I would like to introduce the guidance counselors of Center Grove High School. The guidance counselors have played an important role through the scheduling, counseling, and mentoring of each student in the graduating class of 2020. Mrs. Amanda Buck, Mrs. Angela Chaplin, Mrs. Megan Krukemeyer, Mrs. Kelly McCary, Mrs. Lindsay Miller, Mrs. Stephanie Paul, and Mr. Scott Stenzinger. As is our tradition, Center Grove High School's choir, under the direction of Mrs. Jennifer Dice and Mr. Jared Norman, will perform the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of the haunted circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence in the dim flaring lamps. His day is marching on. It's marching. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with the glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
At this time, it is my honor to introduce the top 10 academic students of the class of 2020. This year, we actually have a tie, which results in 11 students being recognized today. Student names are being read in alphabetical order. Elizabeth A. Anderson, Vinay K. Bamanapati, Jenna E. Boha, Philip M. Golder, Sophia R. Hagedorn, Jenna B. Hans, Jacob A. Miller, David Q. Pham, Anna C. Puderbaugh, Callista A. Stafford, and Zane E. York. Congratulations.
Graduates, school board members, faculty, parents, and honored guests. It is with great honor that I introduce the salutatorian of the class of 2020, Anna Puderbaugh. Anna will be joining us in just a few moments. It's my pleasure to introduce Anna's parents, Sherry and Chris Puderbaugh. Anna would like to thank her parents, sister, grandparents, best friends, and their families for their support and encouragement over the years. Anna's final GPA at Center Grove High School is a 4.810. She has taken 10 AP courses and has completed all honors and AP courses in the 4 core subjects. Anna hasn't earned any grade lower than an A, nor any score on an AP test lower than a 5. Some of Anna's recognitions include placing first in the state for the HOSA State Leadership Conference in the Biomedical Science Laboratory Contest, being named an AP Scholar with Distinction, being named a National Merit Finalist and Scholar. Anna has excelled in the classroom, but has also been involved in a variety of extracurricular activities. Anna has completed the 4-year pathway in our Project Lead the Way Biomedical Sciences, served as Vice President of the National Honor Society, led as an executive member of the Riley Club, participated in both student government and Fellowship of Christian Athletes, as well as volunteering weekly in a local emergency room. Anna shared that her favorite memories in high school were organizing and putting on the Riley Dance Marathon each year. I requested some of Anna's former teachers to provide me with a quote or a brief description of her. Their responses include, Anna is a hard worker who is passionate about learning. Anna has a kind heart and a brilliant mind. These qualities will contribute to Anna's continued successes. The sky is the limit for this young lady. She has persisted and become a student others look to as an example. Anna will be attending the University of Kentucky in the fall to study neuroscience and has an interest in medicine, but is currently undecided on her future career path. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating our 2020 salutatorian, Miss Anna Puderbaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Short, for the kind introduction. It is such an honor to be standing in front of you all today. The opportunity to give this speech is not something that I take lightly. I would like to start by thanking the Center Grove administration for working tirelessly to put on this graduation for the class of 2020 and their families despite these challenging times. I know we will all greatly appreciate having this graduation to look back on in the future. I would also like to thank our Center Grove teachers for their work in shaping the minds of their students. Center Grove teachers are defined not only by their passion for their respective subjects, but also by how greatly they care for their students. I couldn't continue without thanking both my friends and family. I know I'm biased, but I truly hit the jackpot with the most encouraging, selfless, and supportive parents. Both of them have spent countless hours researching colleges and careers with me, praying for me and my future, celebrating my accomplishments, and, most importantly, going out to get me iced coffee when I was up late doing homework. I can only hope to be half of the parent that both of them have been to me. Now is the point in the speech where I'm supposed to give some advice or words of wisdom to my classmates as we embark on our new journeys to success. As an 18-year-old, I am definitely not qualified to be giving advice to everyone here today, and common sense isn't necessarily my strong suit. However, I'm going to try my best by sharing a lesson that had a profound impact on how I view the true meaning of success. I began volunteering in the emergency room of a local hospital as a sophomore, and before I started, I was extremely eager to step into a Grey's Anatomy episode. I couldn't wait to put on a pair of scrubs and follow physicians around as they skillfully saved lives and explained to me what they were doing in the process. That idea was quickly replaced when I was handed a blue polo and a pair of khakis, and subsequently taught how to clean hospital rooms and stock linen shelves. Initially, I was very disappointed because my expectations and reality didn't line up. I expected to be interacting with doctors and learning about my possible future career. But instead, I was able to talk to hundreds of patients. I heard about their life stories, their pains, and their joys. I got them ice packs, warm blankets, and wheelchairs when they were whimpering in pain. While I didn't necessarily obtain more medical knowledge in this experience like I envisioned, it was much more fulfilling to bring comfort to patients that were oftentimes in scared, lonely, and painful situations. This leads me to a lesson that I learned that is hopefully applicable to everyone. I, like all of us here, have worked hard to try to be what the world considers successful. I have attempted with both accomplishment and failure to take difficult classes, get high grades, and to collect academic accolades. I don't regret all the time I spent doing this, of course, but I've come to learn over the past 4 years that success should not be defined by how impressive one looks on paper. The well-known poet Ralph Waldo Emerson says the following: "To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. That is to have succeeded." I believe this quote rings true in all situations. While volunteering in the emergency room didn't necessarily make me more successful according to the world like I thought it would, it gave me the opportunity to support people that were hurting and learn lessons not found in textbooks, which was infinitely more important than my original goal. I have no doubt that we, as a class, will be very successful in many different ways. Something that has always stood out to me is how many truly impressive people comprise our class. We are a class of excellence, filled with young adults that spend hours upon hours perfecting their skills, whatever those may be. We do not settle for mediocrity and always strive for greatness in athletics, academics, fine arts, and everything in between. I feel our class truly stands out in this regard. At the risk of sounding cliche, I'm going to say this: there is no doubt in my mind that our class can change the world. I hope that we all use our talents and skills for the purpose of making even one life breathe easier, because to me, that is true success. While the class of 2020's many accomplishments do look very impressive on paper, the thing that I am most proud of is who we are as people: kind, supportive, and always willing to help each other. We have handled adversity with strength and success with humility. That alone is something to be incredibly proud of. To my classmates, congratulations. Graduating high school is no small feat, and I hope you're proud of how hard you worked to get here. It has been a blessing to grow up alongside all of you, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is with great pride that I introduce Center Grove High School's valedictorian, Vinay Bomdapati. Joining in Vinay's celebration are his father, Mr. Rao Bomdapati, his mother, Dr. Vidya Sundaram, and his older brother, Vivek. In his 4 years at Center Grove High School, Vinay has achieved academic excellence. His final GPA is a 4.846. He has taken 14 AP courses and has earned straight A's in every course at the high school. His transcript is what one might call perfect. He is an AP Scholar with distinction, earning a 5 on every AP test he's taken but one. He's a National Merit Finalist, an Indiana Association of School Principals Rising Star, and an Indiana Academic All-Star nominee. A U.S. President Scholar Program candidate, and he has earned a perfect score on the Math and Physics SAT. However, academics alone do not define this outstanding young man. He has balanced his academic successes with his passions. He's passionate about math. In fact, While taking honors pre-cal trig his junior year, he decided to teach himself calculus. Not only did he teach it to himself, but he managed to earn a 5 on the Calc 1 test. Doing so allowed him to take Calc 2 as a senior, and I have no doubt that he earned a 5 on that test also. He's founded the CGHS Psychology Club and has been the co-president of the debate team for 3 years. He has participated in a neuroscience research internship for the past 2 summers at IUPUI. During this time, he's researched anxiety through an animal model, and doing so has allowed him to focus on his passions of psychology and science. While his list of accolades is long and are often the definition of success for many, Vinay is more than this. When I asked his teachers to share insight on Vinay, several statements were continuously mentioned. He is hardworking, he is engaged, he is dedicated, he's thoughtful, he is kind, and he is helpful. In essence, he is a true team player. Vinay is best known for offering his assistance when a classmate's in need, for lightening the mood with his infectious smile, for working hard, but always wanting others to do well too. In other words, he is the epitome of a humble leader. Vinay, thank you for your hard work, for never taking yourself too seriously, and for showing your teachers and your classmates that you can be at the head of the class, but it's more fun when you bring others along with you. Vinay will continue to lead with passion and kindness at Purdue University, where he will major in computer engineering. Vinay knew he wanted to work with the computers since 6th grade, and his ultimate goal is to found his own tech startup. Congratulations on an honor so well deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinay Bamdapati.
I look up at the night sky, and I know that yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. Neil deGrasse Tyson. As the valedictorian, whose job it is to say goodbye and send off the graduating class, I couldn't think of better words to start my speech, especially in times like these where it's easy to feel lost. Today, I want to talk about finding your purpose. What I've learned in my 4 years is that finding your purpose is all about experimentation, acknowledging the universe inside you, and acknowledging the universe around you. First, experimentation. To best illustrate this point, I'd like to share a story about Mr. Cullum, my sophomore year biology teacher. Due to the boring lesson plans required by the College Board, Mr. Cullum's lectures on microorganisms always seemed to fall on deaf ears. For many students, it was their hardest unit in the class because they didn't feel engaged or immersed in the material. One night, while out hunting, Mr. Cullum came up with the most brilliant experiment. He'd never tried it before, and he wasn't quite sure whether it'd work out. His idea was to gather pieces of dirt, twigs, and some leaves, divide them into petri dishes, and observe the bacteria that grew after some amount of time. Conveniently, spring break was right around the corner, so he decided to let the bacteria grow while we were out and observe them when we came back. Setting his plan in motion, he grabbed all the 4 samples he needed, set up the petri dishes, and explained the experiment to us the next day in class. When we returned from spring break, he rushed to the petri dishes and saw firsthand the success of his experiment. Because Mr. Cullum wasn't afraid to try something new, we were able to gain insight into bacteria and microorganisms that we wouldn't have gained had he not. Experimentation helped Mr. Cullum achieve his purpose to deepen students' understanding. So don't be afraid to experiment when finding your purpose too. Second, the universe is in each Center Grove graduate gathered here. Among us, we have a United States Youth Ambassador to the Special Olympics, an appointee to the United States Air Force Academy, talented student athletes with prestigious scholarships, and national finalists in a gosh dang STEM competition whose invention was good enough to win $50,000. We also have award-winning writers, artists, singers, and musicians, not to mention a record amount of national merit finalists. The point is, have confidence in yourself. We might be the brightest class that Center Grove has ever seen. So if you think you've found your purpose, don't get cold feet while pursuing it, because the dust from the stars of the universe is most certainly what we seniors are made of. Third, don't forget about the universe around you. At some point, you're going to want to give up on your purpose. Maybe you're studying to be a doctor, and you start to think you're not smart enough. Maybe you want to start a business, but the work becomes too much for you to handle. In these moments, look to the universe around you, your friends, your mentors, your family. I know personally that without my friends' support, I wouldn't be speaking to you all today. Mom, Dad, I can't thank you enough for being on my side even when I was in the wrong. Of course, I gotta thank my teachers like Mrs. Erisman, Mr. Komanowski, and Mr. Warner for showing me where my passions lie. I should thank my English teachers too, even though they're sitting in the audience cursing me for making a 3-point speech and thinking, Benai, you learned absolutely nothing in my class. Moving on, though I can't speak for everyone, I'm sure that at least some of you have similar feelings. So when you're feeling lost or like you're not enough, look to the people around you. To finish off my speech, I want to admit that I wasn't being entirely truthful with the biology story. I made up the restrictions from the College Board. And the deep insight we gained as students was actually that bacteria smells almost as bad as the cafeteria's mashed potatoes taste. Seriously, like, is that even food? Like, we ended up having to scrap the experiment because at that point it was more of a safety hazard than a learning opportunity. So just as Mr. Cullen's biology experiment didn't quite work out, so might not yours in your quest to find your purpose. But that's okay. There's a whole world and more out there to explore. For example, recently SpaceX launched a new rocket into space without any foreign help, something that hasn't been done since the discontinuation of the space shuttle. Also recently, Samsung developed a battery that increased capacity by 50% and charged 5 times faster than conventional batteries. I can't help but think that in 50 years, we'll be launching rockets to different asteroids or building a human civilization on Mars. We'll have access to phones that last for weeks and electric vehicles that can travel across the states and back all in one charge. And among the laborers behind these feats will have been us, the seniors gathered here today. Because within us is the universe. So with that, I'd like to say farewell and good luck to the Center Grove High School class of 2020.
On behalf of the faculty and staff at Center Grove High School, I want to extend my sincere congratulations to the class of 2020. It's quite an accomplishment for these young folks to come up here and speak in front of all of you, especially given the fact that there's about a 2-second delay between what we say and when we hear it. So if they get tangled up over their words, please bear with us. Before honors are conferred on those assembled here today, I wish to express my appreciation to parents and family members who have supported and nurtured these students as they have worked towards accomplishing this goal. We all know that without your love, your loyal support, and your perseverance, we would not be here today. So thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting not only the students gathered here today, but also the classroom teachers, as they have worked diligently to provide the best foundation possible for your students. At this time, I'd like all members of the Center Grove faculty to stand to be recognized. Students among your classmates, there is great diversity and very interesting and entertaining personalities. The accomplishments of the class of 2020 are many. Printed in your program today, you will see a key which will help you identify those graduates who have distinguished themselves through their affiliations and by earning various honors. Members of this class have reported more than $4.5 million worth of academic and athletic scholarships earned. 11 students were named National Merit Finalists. 6 were named National Merit Commended Students. 51 students earned the Governor's Work Ethic Certificate, and we also had an Indiana Academic All-Star. 45 students have earned their associate's degrees, and 63 have earned their 30-credit statewide transfer general education core certificate. 13 members of this graduating class have enlisted in various branches of the military, one of whom received an appointment to the United States Air Force Academy. 2 have received ROTC scholarships for the Army and Air Force. At this time, I would like all of those students, along with all faculty members and guests who have served or are currently enlisted in any branch of the U.S. military, please stand to be recognized. Thank you for your service. Throughout the course of the year, I had the pleasure of watching these students excel in a variety of ways. Whether it was in athletic competition, fine or performing arts contests or concerts, academic competitions, classroom presentations, or through any of the many clubs and organizations our students are involved in, I found one thing to be consistently true. Our students are passionate, hardworking, and driven to be the best. 2020. If you ask an optometrist, 2020 is supposed to represent perfect or normal vision. One might have begun this year with optimistic hopes and thoughts that 2020 would have reflected that perfect vision. But we all know it has been anything but. The COVID-19 pandemic resulted in unplanned transition to long-term e-learning and the sustained closure of schools, which presented many challenges to the members of this graduating class and their families. The cancellation of many traditional experiences in the final year of high school, such as spring athletic seasons, fine and performing arts competitions, prom, senior week festivities, the senior walk, and countless other opportunities to relish the final semester with your high school classmates and teachers were all incredibly disappointing. While all of those things were important and will never be able to be replaced, they pale in comparison to some of the most devastating impacts on our community and more specifically your classmates, teachers, and staff members. Many people lost income due to the temporary closure of businesses, or worse yet, lost their jobs completely when businesses closed. Some families dealt with food insecurity. Some individuals dealt with severe anxiety and depression due to the uncertainty and fear, and even the most devastating impact of all, the loss of life of a loved one due to this virus. Couple that with the horrific and senseless death of George Floyd at the hands of a police officer who was entrusted to serve and protect citizens, the resulting protests, demonstrations, and rioting that happened following that, and it's no wonder our young people are struggling to understand and even fear the society in which they are living. However, in the midst of all of this, I was able to reflect on the kind and caring spirit, the generosity, and the dedication of members of this graduating class. It gives me hope for a brighter future, knowing that you will have an opportunity to help shape it into something better for everyone. You are a talented group of students, but more importantly, you are good people. Graduates, there have been many changes in our world in your short lifetimes. Your future will see many more changes that will undoubtedly result in obstacles and challenges. I encourage you to approach them with a positive attitude, kindness, and compassion for each other and our society, and to tackle those challenges with a clear desire to leave a lasting impact on our world. Edmund Burke, in a letter to Thomas Mercer, once wrote about the importance of the collective actions of well-intentioned people. That letter has been paraphrased, and the following quote is commonly attributed to him. "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." So I ask you, good people, do something. Confront evil and injustice in all its forms and make our world a better place. You are the future. Shape it well. The faculty and staff gathered here today feel a special sense of pride and satisfaction as we look at the class of 2020 and realize that all of us, as educators, have had a part in bringing you to this point in your lives. We may not be privileged to help you in the future, but others will be waiting, happy to work with you. Good luck to each of you from all of us at Center Grove High School. We wish you nothing but great success and happiness. Members of the Board of Education, Dr. Arkanoff, by the powers vested in me by the state of Indiana as principal of Center Grove High School, I do hereby certify that the members of the class of 2020 gathered in front of you here today have met all graduation and/or certification requirements as established by the State Board of Education and the Center Grove Community School Corporation. And now it is my honor to introduce Dr. Arkanoff, Superintendent of the Center Grove Community School Corporation, for the presentation of the class of 2020.
Every class is special. Every class is unique. Every class achieves great accomplishments. But for the class of 2020, special, unique, and accomplished are just footnotes to the true persistence, determination, and grit that each and every one of you have shown this year. We are all so proud of you. You have achieved so much during your tenure at Center Grove. Everything from state champions to national honors. But I'm sure the title that you will hold most dear is that of Senior Skip Day Champions. I wish you all the best, and may God bless every one of you. And here we go. Dr. Henderson, on behalf of the Board of School Trustees of the Center Grove Community School Corporation, and by the authority vested in me by the Indiana State Board of Education, it is a privilege to recommend the members of the class of 2020 be granted diplomas from Center Grove High School. Congratulations.
Caitlin Marie Jansen. Jenna Elizabeth Boha. Elizabeth Alden Anderson. Anna Claire Puderbaugh. Vinay K. Bamadapati. Mahek Vinod Agrawal. Elizabeth A. Boaz. Gage R.W. Adams. Luke S. Ader. Rhea I. Al-Jabachi. Emma Catherine Alexander. Maisie R. Allen. Haley Elizabeth Amato. Eric D. Anisevich. Rachel P. Argba. Richard A. Arkanoff II. Michaela Marie Arzetti. Holland Grace Ackerman. Kyle Douglas Bachman, Ayudavir Singh Bajwa, Max Wilson Baker, Brian Nazareth Ballingy, Isaac Christopher Barkdale, Jenna Corinne Bartuka, Kaylee Renee Bauer,
Patrick J. Basinger, Allison Hensley Beach, Caleb N. Bisel, Emily Marie Berg, Caitlin Jude Berg, Kevin James Bashir, Hannah Renee Billsland, Noah J. Billsland, Tegan Blaine Bixler, Elizabeth Frances Blazik, Hannah Rose Bokel, Hallie Jo Boer, Marissa Marie Baunen, Ross A. Baunen, Gabriel Joshua Boyd, Mary Elizabeth Branham, Grace Ann Bridgewater, Tyson L. Bright, Kennedy Rayanna Brim, Evan M. Brooks, Gavin Alexander Brown, Kennedy Louise Brown, Logan Oakley Brown, Samuel Lewis Brunsman, Timothy Isaac Bumps, Skylar Marie Burries,
Carly Joanne Burris, Sean Haley Buskirk, Shailene Kaylee Buskirk, Adam J. Butcher, Morgan Lee Butler, Brian Tyler Casipio, Gavin Edward Cagle, Gracie Lynn Caperton, Grant Edward Caperton, Hannah Elizabeth Carlton, Jacob R. Carson, Michael Allen Carter, Jordan Ashley Casey, Dylan Thomas Castle, Samantha Taylor Catalano, Nicholas Philip Chamberlain, Alex William Christie, Braden Kyle Clark, Deshaun Cameron Clark, Justin Nathaniel Cleary, Olivia Renee Klaus, Haley Nicole Comstock, Donald L. Conrad III, Anna Elizabeth M. Cook, Lauren Rachel Cooley, Benjamin James Cooney,
Brianna Michelle Copenhaver, Kaylee Christine Copenhaver, Tyler Joseph Cornett, Christian M. Cox, Courtney Rain Cox, Connor A. Coyle, Jacob N. Crickmore, Michelle Dawn Kreitz, Ethan Robert Crow, Katie Irene Kuklik, Christopher Eugene Culbertson, Avery Elaine Cummings, Sophia Crystal Marie Cundiff, William Gerald Kunha. Connor T. Svelbar. Jacob Michael Dalton. Bethany Davy. Brooklyn Nicole Davis. Logan Alexander Davis. Rachel Elizabeth Dawson. Mitchell Ray Deirdre. Richard Allen DeChant. Silas Jackson Deckard. Alexander Ayers Devaney. Sean M. Didion. Carter Ryan Dillon.
Drake Tyler Dillon. Drew Scott Dillon. Carter Wayne Dills. Destiny Ann Domain. Cole Edward Donica. Abigail Dawn Drake. Brandon William Duncan. Jacqueline E. Duncan. Tessa Ann Dunlop. Paige Alexandra Dwyer. Grace Ann Marie Dyer. Elena Ashley Eberwein. Bryce Eblin. Elizabeth Grace Edel. Margaret Ann Ely. Audrey Rain Elliott. Paige Alexandria Epperson. Kirsten Ashley Erickson. Gabrielle Aaron Ellis. Nicholas G. Estes. Gracie Marie Eder. Lillian Rose Euler. Meredith Riley Fain. Alexis Marie Fair. Joaquin Fajardo III. Julia May Falcone.
Alexandria Lynn Fanter. Anualua E. Fasan. Braden Scott Ferguson. Jacob Christopher Fincham. Casey Joe Fincham. Lily Cecilia Fisher. Sophia Lee Fisher. Trent Thomas Fisher. Caleb Joseph Francis. Elena Suzanne Frankel. Corey John Frazzini. Travis P. Frey. Brandon N. Fritz. Connor Eugene Furr. Christopher Andrew Fulmer. Joel A. Galloway. Jacob T. Gallion. Reagan Joanne Gandolf. Andrea Guadalupe Garcia. Jennifer Garcia. Jackson Stone Gardner. Kristen Michelle Garrison. Gavin W. Gavorski. Madison E. Gavorski. Joshua Allen Gibson. Riley Ann Geidel.
Alana M. Gilpin. Anthony Daniel Gibson. Dylan Godsave. Michael Super Goebel. Jalen P. Goins. Philip M. Golder, Olivia Ann Gooch, Nicholas Dean Gooding, Alejandra May Goodsell, Gage Dalton Gosnell, Janessa Renee Gray, Drew Jacob Gregory, John E. Grin, Kevin Patrick Grider, Nicholas Lynn Griner, Ethan Bennett Grubb, Joran J. Gudaitis, Clara Elise Gilkey, Lance A. Gutierrez, Dalton Dwayne Gwynn, Reed Alexander Habenicht, Marin Elizabeth Habig, Sophia Ray Hagedorn, Abigail Kathleen Haynes, Braden Kyle Hale, Alexandra Grace Hall,
Quinn Catherine Halloran, Madison J. Hamill, Jenna Brooke Hans, Timothy Wayne Hansen, Nicholas Brian Hardy, Danielle Grace Harrell, Gabrielle Ann Harrell, Marielle Rose Harrell, Adriana Jade Harrett, Benjamin Keith Hartley, Christian L. Haskell, John Lewis Hasquin III, Rylan W. Hassett, Sierra S. Haviland, Brianna E. Haynes, Alex Stephen Heck, Madeline Ann Heineman, Rylan Sage Heinz, Emma Rose Helwig, Jacqueline Michelle Henderson, Lexi M. Hendricks, Latricia Herman, Grant M. Herron, Elizabeth K. Hickman, Skylar Nicole Hicks, Brittany Nicole Higgs,
Abigail M. Horde, Seth Michael Hoffmeister, Ethan James Holmecki, Carter John Holzer, Grace Elizabeth Hommel Wood, Matthias Torres Hopkins, Alexandria E. Hopper, Brooklyn Star Hornaday, Sophie Grace Horning, Gavin Andrew Hostetter, Macy Alexandra Huff, Lindsay Elizabeth Howard, Adam Liam Hubbard, Andrew R. Hubely, Augustus Victor Hune, Benjamin Clark Bartholomew Hummel, Jacob Charles Humphrey, Kaya Renee Hunter, Lindsay D. Engel, Jamie Ann Jacomas, Madeline Page Jackson, Nathan T. James, Lauren Alexis Jarbo, Benjamin Ryan Johnson, Brian Keith Johnson, Caleb Lee Johnson.
Elijah Howard Johnson. Jalen Thomas Johnson. Kyler Connis Johnson. Russell Dwayne Johnson Jr. Graham Thomas Canwit. Ballwinder Carr. Nevaeh M. Keevers. Nicholas William Keller. Genevieve Catherine Kenny. Rhiannon Lori Kidwell. Emma Rose Knox. Luke Dwayne Koltoff. Elizabeth Grace Kubel. Grayson Charles Kojath. Claire Emma Kuntz. Isabel Sophia Marie LaRock. Eric Austin Lasley Jr. Zoe Kathleen Lawless. Chase Alexander Lazelle. Jonathan C. Leach. Sydney Lee. Maxwell Joseph Letgib. Lindsay Lavon Lytle. Kate Christine Lindsay. Nathaniel Scott Lindsay. Anna Elizabeth Line.
Braden Noble Cole Littell. Cooper Blake Livermore. Marshall Farrar Long. Colin W. Love. Lillian Rose Lucas. Harrison Scott Luck. Kenise Ivana Mack. Archit Malik. Sarah Elizabeth Kaur Mander. Catherine Louise Mann. Rachel Elise Marshino. Audra Rose Martin. Jacob Tyler Martin. Margarita Martinez. Caitlin Ray Martledge. Ethan Lorentu Mate. Matthews. Lucas Christopher Maurizio. Susan Lynn May. Alyssa Michelle Mayo. Nathan Owen McBride. Matthew W. McCarty. Malia Bell McCullough. Charles McDaniel. Riley McGee.
Ellie Kate McGowan. Jackson Nicholas McKnight. Morgan E. McLean. Caleb J. McWilliams. Bradley Scott Metter. Una Claire Merritt. Matthew R. Miles. Allison K. Miller. Jacob Andrew Miller. Natalia Rose Miller. Matthew Robert Mills. Nathan Robert Makis. Lindsay Molden. Caitlin Eileen Moore. Lauren E. Morford. Audrey Rose Maraxica. Samuel C. Musing. Connor Mullins. Gavin Edward Munson. Bryce Benjamin Murphy. Athulia Vinod Nair. Angelina Truong Nguyen. Jaden Nguyen. William Peter Nitschke. Kylie Lauren Novak. Jenna Nunley.
Olivia Grace Oliver. Samantha Michael Oltoff. Addison Osborne. Kelsey Elizabeth Osborne. Isaac G. Outland. Elijah D. Owens. Olivia N. Paddock. Rowan Kylie Palmer. Shreya Umesh Parikh. Jenna Marie Parker. Colin R. Perry. Delaney Chance Patterson. Evan Daniel Pearson. Justice Nathaniel Pender. Kayla Christine Pender. Julian Valentin Penchev. Demetrius Brody Perez. Gregory Perez Tello. Gabriel Jacob Peters. Lillian Marie Peters. Cami Marie Petro. David Q. Pham. Emily Jean Phillips. Savannah Roselyn Philpott. Luke Michael Piper. Adamare Plancarte.
Evan Christopher Placoon. Kyle David Pogue. Cheyenne Lynn Pomeranke. Cameron Michelle Poole. Brianna Marie Poor. Jacob T. Powell. Liam Cochran Price. Dylan M. Pruitt. Ethan S. Puck. Logan Michael Kulita. Cody Jackson Quintana. Claire Ashley Rake. Emily Christine Rake. Angel F. Ramirez. Carla Marie Ramos. Aiden D. Ramsey. Jillian Danielle Ransdell. Lucas D. Raridan. Samantha Elizabeth Rasmussen. Colton A. Rathsman. Emma Dalton Rudd. Jaden Asher Reeves. Justin Addison Reeves. Olivia Shane Richardson. Zachary Ryan Risbeck. Alejandro J. Rivas.
Chase James Rivas. Gabriel Lee Roach. Mackenzie Carol Lee Roberts. Kirsten Ann Robinette. Cody David Robinson. Jody Caroline Robinson. Trey Joseph Roebling. Victoria Rose Rodenbaugh. David Abraham Rodriguez. Devin Dwayne Rodriguez. Nathaniel Lee Rose. Ian T. Rowe. Jason Michael Roycraft. Adrienne Lauren Rubel. Madeline Janine Ruff. Crystal Elizabeth Rush, Daniel James Russell, Shatiz Sinai, Paul Christian Salazar, Emerson Lucinda Salyers, Xavier M. Sanchez, Ashley Marie Sanders, Jasnor Kaur Sandhu, Nolan Alexander Sauer, Joseph Luke Schmidt, Victor Lee Schneiders,
Logan Patrick Shutley, Cameron Clifford Scott, Stephanie Rochelle Scriff, Riley D. Seal, Jamie Brooke Sears, Jaden William C., Benjamin Douglas Seguin, Hannah Elizabeth Sendek, Leanna Ruth Sequeria, Tesfaladette Solomon Robel Sium, Jalen Makanalani Sheikh, Madison Claire Shanks, Evan Paul Shoemaker, Peyton M. Short, Zachary H. Short, Michael D. Sinclair, Mackenzie N. Singer, Rajpreet Singh, Christopher Skidmore, Emily Claire Skaluzacek, Rebecca Ruth Slevin, Asia Nicole Slinkard, Jenna Elizabeth Small, Allison K. Marie Smith, Cameron Smith, Casey Richard Smith,
Eli Joseph Smith, Nathan William Smith, Zane Alexander Smith, Abigail Marie Smotherman, Isaac Scott Sneed, Ariel Sozos, Thomas Zachary Sponegal, Avery Michael St. Pierre, Nathaniel Lee Staylor, Callista Ann Stafford, Cameron David Steele, Drew William Steinman, Joshua Charles Stevenson, Emily Addison Stewart, Brianna Elizabeth Stewart Allen, Kaylee Noel Stickles, Brian J. Stoddard II, Margaret Rachel Strickland, Emma Elizabeth Stumpf, Anna Colette Sudler, Nicole M. Surd, Alexandria Leanne Swift, Adam M. Taylor, Alex C. Taylor, Lyric Taylor, Denari Marcus Taylor Williams,
Alyssa Ray Terrell, Grace Brianne Thomas, Kevin Chandler Thomason, Caleb Michael Tidd, Dominic Thomas Tinarello, Haley Nicole Townsend, Jonah Ryan Tracy, Cooper S. Underwood, Vincent Alexander Valdi, Pablo Elza Van Dyke, Ryan Thomas Van Buskirk, Andrew J. Vedito, Bailey Reese Vogel, Lauren Elaine Wackerly, Savannah Talene Waddick, Logan Cole Wagers, Christopher Scott Walker, Austin Lee Wallman, Chloe Marie Walsh, Gwen Westcott Walters, Rachel Ward, Andrew James Warner, Trevor Jacob Wasson, Sophia Renata Watt, Samantha J. Webb, Caleb Allen Weber.
Anna Marie Wendorf, Emma Brooke West, Colin Michael Westell, Taylor Lynn Watley, Jalen Rochelle Wheeler, Kirsten Nicole White, Nicholas Doug White, Elena Hope Whitus, Luke Wayne Wiley, Arden Leanne Williams, Riley A. Williams, Emily L. Wilson, Nicholas Michael Wilson, Sarah Kate Wilson, Kelty Grace Wise, Nolan Daniel Wolf, James Robert Wolf, Megan Renee Wombles, Madeline Brianne Yaden, Roy Liam Yeager, Kylie Dawn Yoakum, Evan H. Yoler, Zane Emerson York, Yao Yu, Carter T. Zook, Shannon Renee Alty,
Imani Cheyenne Armstrong, Kennedy Janae Bader, Avery Dawn Baker, Michaela Ann Bandy, Mara Grace Baston, Jada Lee Beats, Haley Marie Bellion, Emma Y. Benefiel, Anita Beth M. Bankert, Jalen Michael Bennett, Carly Dawn Biergard, Amanda Nicole Blanca, Ethan William Boots, Olivia May Brandt, Micaiah S. Bryan, Ashley Ann Briscoe, Sophia Marie Brooks, Brianna Blair Brown, Jamie Lynn Brown, Marcella Haberman Boer, Kirsten Corinne Burris, Peyton Evan Kingany, Elena Faith Cantrell, Jessica May Claridge, Lillian Renee Cloud, Shannon Leslie Coffey,
Matthew Mars Collins, Corey Renee Combs, Claire Elizabeth Conder, Allison Louise Conkin, Allison Brianne Cox, Logan Maxwell Dales, Hope Elizabeth Davis, Sophia Angelina DeMarco, Adler James Dodson, Suzanne Marie Dowell, Carmen Elizabeth Duffy, Ashley Nicole Eck, Brenna Emerson, Karan Noel Esslinger, Madison Paige Ferguson, Devin Owen Fisher, Pierce Thomas Folds, Sophia Grace Freeland, Jacob M. Gashty, Madison Claire Gloyeski, Matthew Dallas Gregory, Emily Olivia Ann Gross, Miley Bernice Grounds, Jacqueline Danielle Harden, Colin Gregory Heron, Chandler Blake Holloway,
William Benjamin Hubrick, Jordan N. Jacomas, Jonathan David Jeffries, Magdalene Rochelle Joseph, Haley E. Kasumis, Ian James Kelly, Michael D. Klingsher, Daphne Anastasia Kozura, Taylor Renee Lambert, Jacob Tyler Leathers, Brianna Elaine Limbrunner, Leslie T. Luan, Josiah C. Marquardt, Gracie Jo Marsh, Bryn E. McCracken, Sydney N. McDaniel, Ashley E. Mills, Brianna Nicole Miner, Benjamin Royce Mitchell, Sean Andrew Montgomery, Ryan P. Morgan, Carly Marie Nelson, Thomas R. Novotny, Logan Dwayne Orinder, Isaiah Parr, Shiv Patel,
Samuel Elias Petty, Olivia Diane May Philpott, Alexander C. Peichin, John Matthew Prophet, Esri Marie Putsick, Millicent Catherine Rathburn Hall, Amanda May Rising, Kaya Kamalani Rivilla, Madison Michelle Richardson, Bailey Elise Riddle, Ariana Letitia Rivera, Michelle Renee Runquist, Mason Bryce Runkle, Zoe Elizabeth Russell, Kathleen Ann Ryan Berg, Joseph Douglas Sargent, Luke Allen Schmidt, Alexa K. Shelton, Anthony J. Smith, Blake Michael Smith, Isabel Marie Snyder, Kaylin Renee Stetler, Anna Allie Thatcher, Reagan Danielle Thomas, Allison Grace Todd, Jackson Riley Totten.
Jonathan David Trissler. Jessica Marie Ulrey. Ashley Upchurch. LaDan Julius Weems. Addison E. Weinberg. Devin M. Welch. Megan White. Maya Elaine Whitus. Carson Dean Wilhelm. Audrey Grace Wilkins. Joshua Wayne Williams. Hannah Paige Work. Kaya Mackenzie Yeast. Brooke Nicole York. Rachel Zhang.
You want us to call my hair? Who is that? Hang on, lean back.
Hi, I'm Mahek Agarwal, Senior Class Vice President.
And I'm Elizabeth Boas, Senior Class Secretary.
With the turning of our tassels, we officially become Center Grove alumni.
From this moment forward, we will no longer be high school students.
Throughout these past 4 years, we've all made lifelong friends, unforgettable memories, and we've acquired the knowledge and the skills we need to be successful.
To everyone who has supported us from our first day of kindergarten to our last day of high school, we thank you.
Your love and commitment will never be forgotten.
This school has prepared us for what's to come.
And now it is our job to discover our passions and use our knowledge to better the world around us.
Now, class of 2020, please rise.
It is time for the moment we've all been waiting for. As a warning to our guests, following the turning of the tassels, we will be celebrating with fireworks.
To signify our step into the next chapter of our lives, please join us in moving our tassels from the right side to the left. Seniors, graduates.
Seniors, you may be seated. On behalf of the class of 2020, I would like to thank you for your attendance at today's ceremony. Guests, please allow members of the graduating class to exit the stadium during the playing of the recessional before you begin to exit. As you leave campus today, please travel safely on your way home, be patient with traffic, and remember to socially distance. Enjoy the rest of your summer.